Hey there, everyone. Rebecca Martin with Rebecca Martin Coaching, teaching you transformational public speaking skills for the workplace and also for your life. Thank you so much for joining. Today, I'm going to help you to work on your monotone messaging or monotone delivery. So many of my clients that I work with will come to me because they have either received the feedback that they sound monotone or they're listening to their own voice and they're hearing this monotone delivery that doesn't sound very interesting because there's no emphasis anywhere. That was me trying to demonstrate it, and I'm sure most of you fell asleep while I was speaking because it is quite boring. You'll also notice that the volume goes way down, and we just basically lose engagement with our audience and also with ourselves. We can kind of put ourselves to sleep. So, we don't want monotone delivery. We don't want boring delivery when we're leading a meeting, when we're having an important conversation, when we're giving a presentation. Absolutely not. We want to work with our audience, engaging them not only with our content, but with the sound of our voice and with our delivery of our concepts. So, I'm going to teach you a technique today that will help you to get out of monotone and into engagement, emphasis, energy, color in your delivery, in your communication. So, this technique is called emphasizing your key words. When we emphasize our key words, we start to bring variety into our sentences, variety into our pitch, variety into our volume, variety into our tempo. And when we bring variety into our communication and our delivery, then we're just more interesting to listen to. And amazingly, we also are able to better get our message across. And you'll hear how that happens as we go through this exercise. So, when we speak naturally and comfortably and we're excited about our topic, we will often emphasize very specific key words. And that means that these keywords stand out from the rest of our sentence. So, in other words, we have about 2 to 3 key words per sentence, and the rest of our words just go away. So we do this naturally. We do this organically when we're having a conversation about a topic that we're excited about. You can think about the last time you had a lunch date with your friend or a family member or a loved one, and think about how you communicated yourself when you were sharing about your day or something that's really pissing you off at work. You'll notice and hear in your own voice that you will emphasize certain words for a point in order to make a point to the other person. The challenge is that goes away when we get nervous. We don't have that ease and that comfortability in our body, in our delivery. And so we start to kind of repress all of that expression. So, what you can do is you can intentionally bring your expression back into your communication. You can rehearse using key words in your sentences, in your talk, in your delivery, and that will ensure that they show up when you give your presentation or when the important conversation comes. So, let me talk to you about how you can intentionally practice using keywords. A couple things about keywords. Keywords are usually nouns and verbs. So you usually don't emphasize I went to the store. You usually say I went to the store, right? Store is the noun. Or I went to the store yesterday, right? That's the verb, went. So we don't want to get too complicated here. Just think about emphasizing nouns. Um, I went to the office. I returned home. It's important to me that you deliver the paperwork by Tuesday, right? We're just talking about things, objects. That's where you put your emphasis and where you put your focus. So keywords are usually verbs or nouns, and mainly nouns. Secondly, there's probably about 2 to 3 keywords per sentence. You don't want to emphasize too many keywords because then it starts to become monotonous and repetitive in another way where you're just emphasizing everything. You want to de emphasize most words and then emphasize 1 or 2 words in your sentences, um, 2 to 3 words. So, verbs, nouns, 2 to 3 keywords per sentence. And then how do you emphasize is the question. Well, we put emphasis when we communicate as human beings with pitch, volume, and tempo. So we will emphasize a keyword by pitching it up in our voice. How are you? Um, did you go to the store? Uh, where is the library? So we emphasize using pitch. We also emphasize using volume. I told you that was the important piece of advice that I wanted to share. This was the book that I was hoping you'd bring. Um, the third way that we emphasize our keywords is we might slow down, we might speed up. This is when we use tempo in order to emphasize our keywords. So, this is getting into the real nitty gritty. Hopefully, I haven't lost you at this point. Those of you who really like to geek out with your delivery, your body language, your vocal choices, linguistics, you're probably interested in all of these ways in which we communicate meaning through our words and sentences and entire presentations. And so that's for the detail oriented of you folks. But in general, just having the knowledge that we should be emphasizing a couple words and de-emphasizing other words and sentences. And I would say focusing most likely on volume and pitch will ultimately serve you. Tempo gets a little bit tricky. I've also found that volume and pitch really go hand in hand. So once you're pitching your word up there, you're usually making it a little bit louder as well. So let's just try an example sentence here. You can say 3 things that you did with your day yesterday. Okay. And we'll just try emphasizing 3 key words. And let's try emphasizing those 3 key words with your pitch. Volume comes a lot more naturally to most people. So pitch is a little bit of a stretch, and it tends to give a little more or share a little more vulnerability or how you feel about what you're talking about. And you're going to hear it in my voice as I share my sentence. So here we go. Yesterday, I woke up and I exercised for the first time in a while. I then went to my office and got a cup of coffee. And finally, I ended the day with dinner with a friend. So you might have noticed that I pitched my voice up when I said office and coffee. And actually, I slowed down while I said friend. And there were nuances there in my communication. Notice the difference between that and yesterday I woke up and I exercised, and then I went to the office, got a cup of coffee, and had dinner with a friend. Not very interesting. And you're not receiving a lot of information about how I feel about doing each of these things. So now you try it. Say 3 things that you did with your day yesterday. Try emphasizing 3 keywords and try emphasizing them with pitch, pitching your voice up. You can go down, but most likely up is a stretch for you. And I'll share with you that when we pitch our voice up, we're often bringing in a lot more emotion and vulnerability, which is truly the sticky stuff that keeps us connected and engaged as speakers with our audience. So we say, I love you. And why don't you? And do you like it? Notice how we use these higher pitches in order to kind of evoke a feeling and a desire for connection. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. Let me know if you try out the keywords. This is a very sophisticated technique, so I am rooting you on and supporting you, experimenting with this beautiful kind of delivery technique, and it's super fun. Please remember to be playful and just try it out, see what happens. Have fun with the exercise, and thanks again for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, and please let me know if there's other topics that you'd like me to cover in the comments below. Thanks again.